Hey book friends, it's Caitlin here from Spill the Reads, and today I'm going to be reviewing a brand new supernatural love story by a very unlikely writer duo. This book is by Nicholas Sparks, written with M. Night Shyamalan. When I first heard about this, I was super curious. I was just kind of like perusing NetGalley, and if you're not like a booktuber, this is a place where you can read like new books before they're published, and I just was so shocked when I saw this duo, like I'm sure everyone else is. And so I requested the book and I finally finished reading it. And I definitely have some interesting thoughts to share with you. So in this video today, I'll be talking about how this collaboration came to be. I'll be reviewing it without giving any spoilers away. And then I'll just be giving you like my full honest opinion on what this book is, you guys. There are definitely some things that I liked and that I didn't like, so let's dive into it. So how did this collaboration come to be? Because it is so random. And I learned at the end of the book in the afterword, apparently like Knight and Sparks, their agents met each other in LA, and they're the ones that were like, oh, well, maybe they could collaborate on something. And it turns out like that the two were fans of each other. At the end of this book, Nicholas Sparks says that he actually loves all kinds of horror and like supernatural thrillers and stuff. He loves The Twilight Zone. He loves all of M. Night Shyamalan's movies. And so he was like more than ready to collaborate with him on something. So it seems to me while reading this book that it was written by Nicholas Sparks, but that like they worked on the ideas kind of together, because I don't really know actually if M. Night Shyamalan like writes his scripts. I have no idea actually. Like I've seen a lot of his movies, like, but I have no idea if he actually writes any of the stories. So I'm not sure, but I've always been a fan of his movies. Like even growing up, I remember watching like The Village and just thinking it was incredible. And I just saw his newest movie, Trap, and I love that one too. When I think of him, I think of thrillers, and they always have like really interesting twists. And I think that that worked really well in this book, because when I think of Nicholas Sparks, I actually think of like his movies. I've never read any of his books, but I think of like The Notebook. And I know that that movie, even though I haven't seen it since I was in high school, but I remember that it really like affected me emotionally, but I never was like drawn to checking out his books. As a reader, romance is not like my main genre, but I definitely was intrigued by this duo. So let me tell you a little bit about what it's about. So we have this wealthy architect named Tate, who is not really the most likable character. Like he is rich and spoiled. He has never done laundry or like cooked before, but they're trying to get us to be like, oh, woe is me. Like his parents like never really loved him, and they sent him off to boarding school, and he was only really close with his sister, who has just passed away, and he is grieving and actually quite depressed. And so he checks himself into a psychiatric facility, and he has just gotten out, and his like best friend from childhood, I think they met at boarding school, his name is Oscar, and he's like, hey man, why don't you come and like make the plans to build my mansion, because this guy is like really rich. Also, this is like I think like one of the only influences that feel like maybe M. Night Shyamalan was like, oh, I want there to be an Indian character, because this guy, he has some kind of like humble upbringing, and he has Indian parents, and he ends up like becoming like a billionaire because he makes this successful company. So anyway, this character, he's like his best friend, Oscar and Tate, and so it's set in Cape Cod, which is just described like so well in the book. Like I have really nice memories of going to Cape Cod on vacation as a kid, and so we're in this like small town. I think it's called like Provincetown. It's like this really nice small town setting, and we're watching them kind of like decide or like how to make their house or whatever. And during this time, Tate, the protagonist, is staying in this like historic bed and breakfast, and basically he starts seeing like this ghost inside the house, but he thinks it's like a real woman, and he's able to like confide in her like all of his like emotions. He's talking about his like dead sister, who when she died, she basically told him like the truth that she can like see ghosts, and she's like, I want you to be open to love in your life, because he's never really like been good at giving himself into like, I don't know, relationships and stuff like that. He's not good at being vulnerable. And so he just starts, he's really able to talk to this woman. Why am I already forgetting her name when I like just finished the book? I'm gonna be honest with you, I did not like how the female character was written. Everything was like kind of hinging on like the physical aspect, like literally very surface level. One of the first things that they say about her is that I have to paraphrase here because legally I'm not allowed to like quote an advanced reader copy. I'm not trying to get sued by these guys, but they're like, oh, well, basically like by society's standards, I wouldn't really call her beautiful. And like he goes on to describe like this gorgeous woman, except for that she has like a crooked tooth and kind of like an intense nose. And so I was like instantly just put off by this, and the rest of the book I just constantly felt like they were just like talking about her outfits that are kind of like form-fitting. She's always wearing these like tight yoga pants and crop tops, or has like a sweater that will like fall off her shoulder. And then he's always just calling her beautiful. Like they must have used this word like 100 times. And so I didn't really get into the romance side of the book, but he's like coming out of his shell. He's able to kind of like make a bond with this woman when that's been hard for him. And he's like listening to his sister's like advice, because she's sending him these like videos that she recorded before she passed away. But anyway, let's get to the interesting part of the story that I actually liked. I read a lot of thrillers and mysteries. This also has like a whodunit inside, because this woman is a ghost. Still can't remember her name. That is so annoying. I literally just finished. I already forgot her name. Okay, so it's basically like also a whodunit, because we know that she died in like a suspicious way. She like hit her head and then drowned in the bathtub. And we find out that there's all these characters in town who totally could have wanted something terrible to happen to her. She's got like family drama, like an ex-husband. She's got like a business partner things went south with. And so there's like all these possibilities. And I really enjoyed kind of like playing detective and trying to figure out who killed her. But since I do read a lot of these kind of books, it was pretty easy to kind of like feel which way the author is trying to push you. And so I was able to sniff out these red herrings, and my prediction was correct at the end. But I still had a good time and did actually feel a good amount of suspense. So, you know, I did mostly enjoy this book once I just tried to stop noticing those annoying like physical descriptions of her. She's beautiful, she's beautiful. But you know, it was a relatively good time. I read this book in a day. So yeah, maybe you would like it. This was my first Nicholas Sparks book. I don't really know if I would want to pick up more books by him if this is like how he writes female characters, but I know that he has sold millions and millions of copies around the world of his books. So I think if you're a fan, you would probably be into it. Although I will say, as someone who reads thrillers, I was like a bit grossed out a couple of times. So just beware that there is going to be some gruesome kind of violent content. But I'm looking forward to seeing the movie that comes out next year. And what do I think about the collaboration part? Yeah, I do think this was all just kind of like for the money, and I imagine that the two of them are like fans of each other, so it must have just been like a fun way for everyone to make a bunch of money and also to like promote the movie at the same time as the book. So yeah, I'm curious to know what you guys think of this collaboration in the comments. Do you think that it's all just for money, or would you read it? Please let me know your thoughts, and yeah, I will see you guys next time.